A very good morning to the students of Standard 9. Today in English literature, we are going to continue with the poem The Village School Master Part 4. We have already discussed about the qualities, the role of a teacher. We have studied about the great teachers, how a teacher influences a person, and we have studied about the school master in the village school in an Irish village, Lissoy, and the poet Oliver Goldsmith, who was the student there, has out of gratitude written this poem to explain to us the various expressions of his schoolmaster and how, though he taught him to be very strict, slowly understood that he was indeed a very, very good, kind person who worked for the welfare of his students. So here we proceed on. Be with me. Great teachers. I want you to identify this person. A great teacher of love, kindness, and establishing peace. Who is she? Wonderful Mother Teresa. She worked with the sick and the ailing people. Who is this? A great teacher again. Who is she? Savitri Bai. Now, before we continue with the poem, I would like to refer to some statements which are very nice about a teacher. Who is a teacher? A teacher takes a hand. Takes a hand means holds the hand of a young child in the nursery, for example. Takes a hand, holds the hand. Opens a mind. Does he or she take a hammer, a screwdriver, something and open the mind? No. It's out of the teaching, out of the love and compassion they express, the way they help you, they guide you, that your mind opens. Mind opening means becoming more and more exposed to learning, gaining more knowledge, understanding things better. Is that clear? And touches a heart. In the beginning I had asked you, who is your favorite teacher and why do you say so? That some words, some actions, some behavior, some expressions of a teacher really connects with you very well. So they touch your heart. You have a special feeling for them. That's what we mean by this. A good teacher is like a candle. Why do we call her a candle? It consumes light itself to light the way for others. Have you seen a candle, children? When you light a candle, what happens? The candle wax starts dripping, dripping, dripping. But each time the wax is dripping, the candle is growing smaller in size. What is it doing to the surrounding? It's lighting it up for others. So it consumes itself to light way for others. A teacher is like that. She tries to teach you, explain, make you understand, shows her love and compassion. Why? Because she wants you or he wants you to come up in life and be well-versed, knowledged, and above all, understand things in the world. Understand yourself too. Teachers are the most responsible and important members of their society because their professional efforts affect the fate of the future. If you want to be responsible, you have to learn it from somewhere. If your parents are responsible, you tend to copy those characteristics. So teachers' job here is something very responsible. They cannot be casual because every time they move, wherever they go, the children are always watching them. And every act, every behavior, every movement of theirs is being observed and the children are imbibing it. So The teachers are professional members of the society, important members, because their professional efforts, whatever they do in their profession, affects the fate of the future. So if they are honest, sincere, loving, compassionate, caring, the same qualities you will see in the children. But if the teachers are dishonest, are not planned properly, do not care how they look, do not keep in mind what they talk, they are not aware of their surroundings, they will pass the same thing on to the students who learn from them. So we continue now. Lands he could measure, terms and tides presage. Who is this he? The village school master in Lissoy. Lands he could measure. What is land? Yes, he knew how to measure the length of the land and the width of the land. Terms and tides presage. And in the story ran that he could gauge. In arguing too, the person owned his skill. For e'en though vanquished, he could argue still. While words of learned length and thundering sound amazed the gazing rustics ranged around. And still they gazed, and still the wonder grew, that one small head could carry all he knew. So he was able to measure the land, that is, he knew the length of the land, the width of the land, he was able to measure it. Terms and tides presage, he could even foretell. Foretell means tell in advance. What could be the future of that land? Suppose somebody is purchasing it, when they have to pay their dues or what will happen, things like that. He could also foretell tides, when high tides, low tides will come, to that extent. And in the story ran that he could gauge. What is in? Even. The story ran. Story ran means somebody had mentioned. It had become a talk of the place there. That he could gauge. Gauge means tell. He could again gauge or measure. Measure what? He could measure the liquids. He could measure the liquids. He could measure many things. He was not only good at measuring the length and breadth of the land, but he was able to gauge many things, understand. In arguing too, the person owned his skill. When it was an argument, the person owned his skill means he had great skill in arguing. He was excellent at arguing. For e'en though vanquished, he could argue still. There were many times in the argument he was defeated, but he never lost hope. He continued till he made his point clear to them. So he never gave up easily. Even though he was vanquished, means he was defeated, he went on arguing till he was able to put up his point. While words of learned length and thundering sound. And how did he argue? He was learned. He knew. He had a knowledge of all these things. So whatever he said, he was able to explain it to them. And with a thundering sound, how did he speak? He did not speak low. His voice was like that of thunder, loud and clear. And still they gazed. Who is this still they gazed? The village people. Amazed the gazing rustics ranged around. Rustics means the villagers. So amazed, surprised that a person who was defeated did not give up but went on arguing to prove his point was something that amazed them. And they were also surprised that his range was great. He could talk from small things to, it could be something to do with academics, it could be something to do with sports, maybe politics, maybe geography, maybe history. Everywhere he was able to talk. So his knowledge ranged so much. And still they gazed. They went on staring at him, looking at him, because he was so surprised. And still the wonder grew. Each time they saw him, their amazement, their surprises, their wonders grew. That one small head could carry all he knew. So what did they think? He had a small head, my goodness, in this small head, how much information is stored. So they were amazed at the qualities, they were amazed at the knowledge, the learning capacity, the range of information that he possessed, and all this made them stand in awe or look at him in awe, and they respected him greatly because he was not just a teacher, he was not just a master, he was the master to their children, but he had a great influence on the society at large. So we are coming to the last part of the poem here. The village schoolmaster could measure the lands and he could foretell the terms and tides. He could warn people beforehand about settlement of dues. See, you're buying this land, you'll have to settle the dues by this time. Things like that he could tell. Time of high and low tides. In other words, he could foretell the terms and conditions of sale and purchase of lands. He was very good at arguing, that is, he was skilled at arguing and never gave up easily, even though he was defeated. He was never discouraged and tried to prove his point. So these were the qualities of the village school master. He was loud, clear, and had a sound knowledge. Sound knowledge is not noisy knowledge. Sound knowledge means good knowledge, and this was expressed in his loud, profound voice and good vocabulary. He had read so many books, probably taught so well. He had taught so many students. Probably his vocabulary, his voice, everything, all this told that he was no ordinary person. He had a good vocabulary. His voice was clear, profound. The rural folks or the villagers were surprised at his range of action and words. They were more and more surprised as they saw him day after day and wondered how he had so much information in his small head. In other words, they were awed by his intelligence and his skill at arguments. Thus, in this poem we see how the village schoolmaster had a great influence not only on his students but the entire village community. So now you understand, children, that if you are a teacher, you not only impact your students but the parents of the students, the community with which you work. So you have a lot of responsibility as a teacher. Once you are a teacher, you have to understand that you are impacting not only your students, but the village or the city at large. So the teachers play a profound role, a very, very important role. The teachers play a very important role in teaching not only their students, but they make an impact on one and all in the surroundings. Have I made myself very clear? It is the teacher's role, not rule. The teacher's role, R-O-L-E. So the role of a teacher is a very, very important one, respected one. And just you can see here how the master did not demand respect. He commanded respect. The way he spoke, the way he argued, the way he took care of his students, all this made him the hero in the village. Everybody looked at him with awe and surprise. They respected him to a very great degree. I'm sure you have understood it now. He was looked upon by the villagers as a man of great substance. Substance means one who had so much of knowledge. A strict disciplinarian, a humorous person, learned, good in arguments, an all-rounder, a person with varied interests. Varied interests means interested in so many things. It was not studies. He was intelligent. So, to summarize here, we have the meaning of, again I repeat, it is not stanza 3, it is the last few lines of the village schoolmaster. The master as seen by the rustics, qualities of the master, things he could do, schoolmaster's influence on the village. On to the questions now. Where was the school located? Why did the villagers respect the schoolmaster? What is the children's view of the teacher? Pick out the words that convey the different emotions. Write a character sketch of the schoolmaster of the poet. Give the meanings for the following words: dismal, vanquish, rustics, ought, and boarding. Again, I read the fourth question. Write a character sketch of the schoolmaster of the poet. Of the poet means Oliver Goldsmith. Have I made the questions clear, children? I hope you have understood everything. Thank you. Sai Ram.